Hello everyone, welcome back to Transferware China Pottery. My name is Sofia and today I am going to share with you a haul that I worked for a few days in 3 different states. So as I explained to everybody from the first haul, I am a Transferware Staffordshire Flow Blue collector and reseller on eBay. And I travel all over to find the best pieces. These days of today is very difficult to find a lot of these items because most of them are in collections and or have gotten broken, especially with the online trade, which is so convenient for most people to acquire pieces without having to leave their home. A lot of these items get damaged during shipping, so their numbers have decreased quite considerably. So I have some samples here that I decided to show you today. This was not the whole haul that I grabbed. I'll make a second video with that. Spent about 4 days between Connecticut, Massachusetts, and Rhode Island going to all the antique malls, flea markets, so on and so on, and some estate sales as well. So I want to first start with this amazing piece, which is not Transferware. I have it sitting here next to me, and as I go, I will move pieces to the side, so excuse if I'm moving quite a bit during this haul, because I don't want to break anything. This piece is very, very interesting. It was one of the first pieces that I acquired in this size and this technique of pottery. This is a aesthetic movement about 1880s, and it's called sandware, where the outside of the item has a sand texture, and companies who produce this, like Wedgwood and a few others, ran it for a few years. They did not produce a lot of it. As you can see, this is a very large urn piece. It's quite magnificent with all the hand-painted florals. The texture is quite interesting, so let me zoom in on it for you to really see it. There's some grazing on the inside, but really no chips, cracks, or repairs. I'm going to put this down. And here's the body of the item, which I fell in love with. No markings, as you can see, but a lot of these pieces were not marked. So moving on. So the next item I would like to show you, it's this amazing Majolica piece. I'm not a Majolica collector, but I am a reseller of Majolica. And when I can find rare pieces like this one, I love to pick them up. I want you to note today that I paid up for these items, okay? A lot of these items were not inexpensive. They were quite expensive. I paid about $200 for the large urn, curved urn, as I showed you. So I believe that I can probably get about $395 for that specific item because of its size and rarity. It's not listed yet on eBay, but soon it will be. Another thing too that a lot of my clients inbox me on eBay and Instagram, Transferware China Pottery, is you resell quite large pieces. Aren't you afraid of them breaking? Well, it's all in how you pack it, to really be honest with you. Of course, you can't prevent these things from breaking sometimes. Accidents happen, but if they're really, really well packed in large boxes, they will make it to their destination. And also keep in mind always purchasing insurance just in case. Okay, so moving on to the next item. It's this beautiful pillow vase, Majolica pillow vase. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. It has these beautiful flowers on the top and some numbers on the bottom. Usually these were not signed with a maker. Definitely an English piece. I think I paid about $190 for this item. So a lot of these items I paid up for, okay? Another piece that was in the same booth as this dealer was, and these were in Connecticut, was this beautiful high relief vase, Majolica vase. Look at all of the detail on this item. Just magnificent. There's absolutely nothing wrong with it. No chips, cracks, or repairs. Let's take a look here. There's a marking on the bottom of this one, and there's some initials, G and S. Pattern number 3784. It's absolutely stunning. I absolutely love all the high relief texture on this piece. All the work that was really put into this item is unbelievable. And of course, these were all hand painted as well. One of my favorites from this trip. I'm very, very pleased with it. I paid about $225 for that item. It should resell for about $400. Now, when I'm giving you these high prices, a lot of people are saying, oh, that's too much money. People are really not purchasing items like that. Well, I may say from personal experience that they are. They do sit for long periods of times, and sometimes they sit for a couple of weeks or a couple of days. It depends really on who's looking, okay? And also on your reputation as a seller on eBay. People, if you have a good reputation, people are going to bid with confidence and become return clients for these kind of objects. And keep in mind also, people don't want to ship large items. So if you are shipping large items, you're going to stand out when it comes to collecting these large pieces of pottery or porcelain. Another piece that I want to share with you is, let's start with a few pieces of glass I've picked up. Quite interesting because there's two pieces here that resemble each other and they're made in two different countries. Okay, so the next piece that I found was this beautiful Fenton swung vase, and it has the original sticker, and it also has the Fenton mark on the bottom. It's about 22 inches tall, and I absolutely fell in love with this. I love to decorate the storefront here and home during the winter time, even my other office upstairs, with a lot of milk glass because it's just the perfect winter decor. Moving on to the next piece of glass that I picked up. And I picked this up for a specific reason, to be able to show people the difference between these two items. I found it so interesting. They were from the same dealer, and these were at a flea market. So here's a heavily gold gilded trio cup and saucer, Venetian glass. It's absolutely stunning. This particular item is monogrammed AM, and I don't mind items being monogrammed. It just adds to the history and the nostalgic feel of the pieces. As you can see, look at all that detail. Quite heavy. It's quite heavy. Very, very nice piece. And then in the same booth, labeled as Venetian glass, there was this beautiful pedestal bonbon dish, which I found absolutely stunning. But the difference is between these two, the cup and saucer, the trio set, was definitely made in Venice. Okay, it's Venetian glass, Italy. This other particular piece, which is much lighter in weight, is reproduced in Japan. So this is in actuality a reproduction from the trio set. So when you're out shopping for this particular glass, pay close attention to the feel, the weight, and how the gold is displayed. A lot of these items were painted in 24 karat gold, and reproductions like this one were obviously painted differently. Even the design on the flowers and the petals is less intricate and completely different. So this is a reproduction from Japan. They're both set on cobalt blue glass. So I figured I would share that with you. Next but not least, we're going to go into the transferware. And I have some amazing, amazing, amazing items. I'm trying to not to keep all of these in my personal collection. It does become a bit addicting, that's for sure. So, the first item I would like to share with you is this beautiful historical blue Transferware child size cup and saucer. Now this material, a lot of people call it Staffordshire, but it's soft paste. It's a soft paste that to use in these. And there's the pattern right below here. It's a beautiful courtship. A lot of these people, pardon me, a lot of these items, I should edit that out, but I'm not going to because we all make mistakes. So a lot of these items were usually produced in England, but we do have countries like Switzerland, the Netherlands, Belgium, Germany, and also Portugal producing a lot of these blue and white pieces. This particular cup and saucer is produced in the Netherlands. So moving forward, we got some nice items in Connecticut of red transferware from this specific booth. This person is also a collector, like I am for sure, and a dealer in transferware, which is a rarity these days and ages because it seems like most people tend to stay away from the expensive items, like I mentioned before. So we have this beautiful chintz pattern, very rare pattern in transferware. It's the Brooklyn pattern. It's in great condition. Beautiful picture from the 1820s. And like I've mentioned in the previous video, a lot of these transferware pieces, the romantic wear Staffordshire, was produced between 1820s and 1840s. Then they started a lot of the flow blue. Also, another picture from that same dealer is this Canova pattern brown transferware piece. There's some crazing and light staining on it, but that really doesn't deter people from picking these pieces up. It's not stamped, but that's what the pattern is. From that same dealer, I ended up also picking up this gorgeous coffee pot with this beautiful scenery. Most of these were British sceneries. It's in purple transferware, which is also a very desirable color. It's in fairly good condition for its age. It's about 1830s. I paid about For this coffee pot, and please don't quote me if I make a mistake, I paid about for this coffee pot 200 US dollars. For this pitcher, I paid about 50, which is a great deal. And for the brown transferware, I paid about $100 for this. And then from the same dealer, the last piece was this amazing red transferware with children playing in the garden. Again, stunning, beautiful piece. A lot of these coffee pots are unmarked, which is a shame. There's a chip on the spout on this one. I paid about $175 for that coffee pot. Next, moving forward, at the flea market in Connecticut, I ended up picking up this beautiful brown transferware teapot. So teapot, shorter, bulkier, coffee pot, taller, okay, and slender. And it's in absolutely great condition besides a stress mark line on the handle here. I paid about $40 for this beautiful piece, which was a great deal. Very unusual color and shape. I think I'm going to put this down here. So I apologize. And then also at that same flea market, ended up picking up this beautiful blue and white pitcher. Now this one has a considerable amount of damage to the handle and it's also repaired. It's the Washington vase pattern. There's also a little chip here. I paid only $20 for it, but like I said to you, transferware in good condition is very expensive. And for those who cannot afford expensive items, this is the perfect item to indulge in. For such little money, you get such a beautiful item from the 1840s. Isn't that absolutely stunning? And you can decorate it with beautiful silks or display it as is. I could not let that pass by. There was actually a lady in front of me that also collected transferware, and she's like, oh, I wish it wasn't damaged. Well, for the age that it has, 100 and something years old, we're all going to have a little nick, a crack here and there. So I don't discriminate chipped and repaired items. Of course, I'm not going to pay full price for them, but I absolutely love them. Another item for that same dealer, which seemed like it was someone who understood about transferware and was trying to get rid of some of these pieces, was this very unusual lavender purple transferware with a grape pattern on it. A lot of these pieces are also not marked. It's a very rare color, very unusual to find these colors. That were not, I guess, produced as much, not a high demand for that at the time, but it's transferred onto an ironstone base. There's a little chip here on the spout, but for $25, you could not go wrong. So moving on from that little batch, ended up down the road finding this wonderful dealer at an antique mall on Route 9. This beautiful aesthetic movement transferware brown pitcher, and I did add some florals to it just to give it some color, and I absolutely love this pattern. This item is already listed on our eBay store. I could not pass that. I ended up paying $75 for this one. And they usually go, these items usually go, I've been finding selling them between $40 all the way through $175. A lot of people say that those are very high prices. I've sold a considerable amount of them at that price, depending on the pattern. A lot of people like to decorate them with florals. or they use them for fresh floral arrangements. And like I said before on my previous video, I would refrain from keeping water inside of those for a long period of time. It will end up damaging the pieces. Another item that I got from that same dealer that also has a little floral pop in it. It's this beautiful greenly blue and white pitcher. Greenly used a lot of semi-porcelain. Opposite to the pitcher before was ironstone transferred on. And a lot of these pieces were transferred back in the day onto copper plates and then transferred on to the porcelain, which was a much faster way than hand painting everything onto the item itself for mass production. Then later on, I moved down the street to another antique mall, and off of 95, which was not down the street, was quite a bit further out, about 20 minutes. And I found some nice pieces throughout that antique mall. And it was about 3 pieces that I fell in love with. There was not a lot of transferware in that antique mall, but these 3 pieces, I paid up for them, and I'll share with you how much I paid for these. The first piece is this beautiful flow black mulberry Boshara pattern pitcher and bowl. I could not let it pass. I absolutely fell in love with it. And in 38 years of collecting transferware, mulberry, and Staffordshire, this is the first time I came across this piece in this pattern. I paid about $295 for it, but I'm so delightful to have it. And at the moment, I'm just going to keep it in my personal collection. If I decide to sell it, I'll let you know. Okay, from that same antique mall, I ended up picking up, let's go with a platter, this absolutely gorgeous black transferware platter. And there's the marking. There's a little transfer mishap there in the corner that most people don't care for. I really don't care. I think it adds character to the item itself, but some people prefer not to have it that way. I don't think it devalues the piece. I really love it. I absolutely love it. I paid about $350 for this platter, and I absolutely love this piece. I love to decorate walls with these antique Staffordshire transferware pieces. Pardon me. And how I have it in my house is each room has a color. So I have a room with green. I have a room with purple. I have a room with black. I have a room with blue, so on, so on, and so on. And in my kitchen, I have a lot of Fenton white milk glass and blue and white. So, last but not least, before I finish this haul with you, my favorite piece. And I have listed this piece on eBay. It's a very rare item. You don't see too many of them. This is the first I've seen in this pattern. And I'm going to move some of these things around so we do not lose any items. And the star of the show is this absolutely stunning flow blue tureen from 1840s. There's barely any damage on it. Although the reason why I'm pulling this piece up, not only to show you its beauty, I want to show you some things that happened with the flow blue. Flow blue was really a mistake when someone along the 1820s started to produce this type of pottery in China. They were transferring they would put a paper sheet over the copper plate with the dye and transferring onto the porcelain itself, and the heating process and glazing process will blur the blue underneath. Well, the English disliked the look of it. They thought it was not a polished look, but the Americans absolutely loved it and still do, And also in Portugal, it's very sought after. They call it burão azul. Burão azul. And it's a very rare piece, especially a soup tureen. Very few of them were produced, considering the amount of plates, platters, etc., etc., etc. This piece is missing the underplate. Its ladle, which is the rarest piece of them all, has a couple of nips in the front, but that does not bother me at all for such a rare piece. But as you can see, look how blurry the pattern is on it from the firing the porcelain itself and blurring it. Another thing I would like to share with you is the pattern in itself. And you see here how the pattern is just blurring down. On this other side is more crisp. And then there's your marking. This is Suberon pattern. I've never seen a soup tureen in this in all these decades of collecting these items. I've seen other soup tureens. I have sold a similar soup tureen in a cashmere pattern for $3,000. And the lid with the matching pattern on there. Carefully put this down. So here we have it for today, and I would like to also thank you for joining me. Oh, and before I forget, I paid about $695 for this item, and I do not regret a penny of it. I think it's absolutely beautiful. It's a rarity. I'll for sure find its rightful owner, and I'll be glad to pass it along when that person comes. So it is available on our eBay store as well. So, and for today is all, and thank you for joining me, and see you next time. So long.